Thanks for attending our Compatibility Sets webinar. Give it a few more minutes and wait for a few more people to join, and we can get started. We will get started now. Okay, so basically, yeah, selling auto parts on eBay that highlight compatibilities, really huge for if you're in the motors categories or auto categories on eBay. Compatibilities are definitely something you're going to want to put on your listings. Really is a key to being successful when you're selling on eBay or other channels for that matter. Many parts can fit different makes and models of the vehicle, and it could take hours to enter the text to describe all the different compatibilities of the vehicles that the part will fit. So with eBay's parts compatibilities and SixBit's compatibilities integration into the software, we make it pretty easy and straightforward to set that and create compatibilities and set those on your listings prior to submitting to eBay. And then finally, with SixBit's compatibilities feature, you can specify all the different vehicles that your part fit essentially into a table that's really legible and looks good on your listings, especially for the buyer when they come to your listing and they see if they have their eBay garage filled out, it'll automatically fill in and tell them whether or not that part essentially will fit to their vehicle. Or you can use the drop downs on the listing. So it's definitely a big part of buyer shopping. All right, so what we're going to cover in the webinar today, we're going to first start out with the beginning stages, basically importing the eBay master vehicle list. That's the first step in SixBit prior to creating fitments for your items. And then we're going to step through creating some custom compatibilities for your items. We're going to show basically creating manually your compatibility sets from scratch, and then setting that compatibility or updating your items to use that compatibility as well. We're also going to show off choosing compatibilities from the eBay catalog of parts, essentially putting in all your item information, and then after you have all your item information, going to that compatibilities tab, and if you have a part number or EPID, pulling that in from the compatibilities tab to use the eBay fitments from the catalog. And then using a compatibility set that you previously sets out of SixBit. Lastly, I have some links here that should be beneficial. Our YouTube channel link, we have some compatibility tutorial videos, hands-on videos that Christy just put up. So those are live. You can get to those here. And through we have a playlist. And then we have our fitment documentation link. I'll post this. You should be able to download this after the webinar. And yes, so Sarah just asked if this event will be available after. We are recording it, so we're going to see. We might have to make a few tweaks after, but we will post the live webinar recording to our YouTube and Facebook and other areas once we're done here. All right, so I think that was it for the slide. So right now I'm going to pass the torch over to Dustin, and he's going to take us through some of these other points with importing the master vehicle list and creating compatibility sets, and give us a rundown of all that. All right, so Dustin, your mic should be live now. Let me just put you up there.
All right. So thanks, Steve. So I'm Dustin, one of the 6-bit support folks. A lot of people in here probably talked to me before. So what I'm going to go over today is importing the master vehicle list from eBay and creating a compatibility set, and then I'll pass it over to Christy. So I have a item here that's ready for me to use. In the compatibilities tab, I've got it set to manual because I haven't set anything yet. And we're going to hit this pencil icon here. If your master vehicle list hasn't been downloaded, there's going to be a little red message in place of here letting you know that it's recommended for you to download that. So we're going to click this link. And the one you want to download is under the master vehicle list section. So the October 22 list, we'll grab that. And that's going to download. Then we'll click import master vehicle list back in the manage compatibilities window. And this just takes a few minutes to run. So the master vehicle list contains information for pretty much all makes, models, engines, trims, along with EPID values from eBay. So this is definitely a good thing to have. And this just takes a few minutes to run.
Yeah, I'm just going to interject here. If you guys have questions, you can post them in the chat section or the Q&A underneath the stage or anywhere. We're going to open this up once we're finished to some Q&A, answer any questions or concerns that you guys have.
Oh yeah, please ask questions at any time.
Now, is this, I'm just curious, is this MVL just eBay auto? There isn't like motor sports or anything in this, is there?
Right. Boats is separate, and 6-bit doesn't support boats.
Right.
Yeah, there's power sports there. I think that includes, yeah, motorcycles, ATVs, probably like snowmobiles and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's all separate.
Okay, we have one guy that asked how often should we download and update the MBL in 6-bit? That's a good question.
Yeah, good question. Definitely when you're starting out using 6-bit with compatibilities, you want to download that. I'm not sure if eBay does a monthly or a quarterly update for that. You see that at files for October, and we're in December, so there's not an updated one yet. Probably worth checking occasionally, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Probably at least maybe every few months or, like you said earlier, quarterly. Checking to see if there's any bigger updates is probably a good idea. Okay, another question. I have several 6-bit users connected to a server. Do they need to each import this?
As long as they're all connected to the same database on one server, if you import it once on one computer, and it doesn't have to be the server, it can be one of the clients to import it, then that should be fine.
Yep, awesome.
All right,
yes,
now
as long as they're connected.
Yeah, as long as they're connected. Now that that's done, I'm going to go over just creating a compatibility set from scratch. You can import an existing compatibility set and modify that. I'm just gonna go through top to bottom. So let's grab some Nissan, and I drive one of these guys. You can also grab a year range. So if I select year 2022, hold down the shift button and go down to 2017, that will select all those in that range. I'm going to leave trim set to all for now and add these to the fitment list. So we can see trim all, engine all. We can expand the trims. This might be useful on your listing just so people can see, just so they know that that's going to be compatible with their trim and their engine. And so you've got EPIDs in there too. That's good. All right. Click create a new compatibility set with these values. Hit OK. That's going to ask for a name. And hit OK there. That's going to make the set and apply it to our listing. And save and exit there. And that should be all set. Any other questions about that? This is probably pretty basic stuff for people who've done compatibility sets already.
Yeah, there's nothing coming through the chat right now.
All right, that should be the end of my segment. So I should be handing it over to Christy now.
Awesome. Yep, we'll hand it over to Christy. Let me add her to the stream. And you should be able to talk now, Christy.
Maybe. How about
yep.
now?
Great.
All righty. So here I'm going to go over importing and exporting your compatibility sets, as well as how to download pre-existing compatibilities from the eBay catalog. So like Steve said, if you're using Fitments, it can take a really long time to manually put all that together. So being able to access fitments that have already been set is definitely going to be helpful. So I'll go over that first, downloading those compatibilities. So I've got a few parts here and under construction, this exhaust muffler. So when you've got the compatibilities tab, so we've got that already filled in. There's the retrieve from catalog button. Now you can search for like a name, part number. You can also search for an eBay product ID. So that's what I'm going to do here. And then click go. It's going to search that here. And then you can see the catalog information there. Now we actually, if there is if you've put a manual eBay product ID in here, we're actually going to erase that here in 6-bit because that is a catalog item and we don't send compatibilities when we submit a listing to eBay if it's a catalog item. So if you manually enter in the ePID and you're not downloading compatibilities from the catalog, you're going to want to actually remove that field. So here you can see it's switched to manual. So when we click the Edit Compatibility Set button, go ahead and drag this over. You can see this is what it downloaded with that ePID. So we can create a new set with these values and name it. So we'll go, let's see, save that. Now we can go in and set that as well. So now I can save, and we'll do that again here for another one. I have another one here, automatic transmission assembly. Retrieve that from the catalog and enter in the EPID. And here we see, now we have, oh, so it didn't really add a whole bunch. It may or may not include everything that's compatible, but you can go through and add additional information. So say I wanted to just, like Dustin went over, add in another one. We'll just say, we'll just grab one. It doesn't really matter on that end, but we can add more in. And again, we can go and apply that. It doesn't automatically switch it to the compatibility set that you've named it, in case you wanted to keep it as a manual set. So the other thing that you can do is searching it by the name. So, but that's a little bit less accurate. Pulling it in through the eBay product ID is going to usually pull in compatibilities. So we'll do the same part that Dustin did earlier, and we'll just search for the name. I can search the name and click go. And then it pulls up that eBay catalog. So you can find the part and click OK. It'll download those product compatibilities. And then we can open that up. And there's the compatibilities for that part that are available from the eBay catalog. Now, say we were searching by the name. We'll do this again. We'll search it, but we'll select a different one. Now, if no compatibilities are found, we should just see no compatibilities downloaded, an error message in the event log if no compatibilities are found for the item that you select. So that's pretty much the basis of pulling them in from the catalog. The other thing we'll go over is how to export compatibilities and import compatibilities with a CSV file. So when you export, so if I wanted to, I can select all of these items here, and I can export that compatibility file, export to file in compatibility sets. So I'm just going to export all the compatibility sets. You can select one or two items in the grid. You can export just the ones that are selected. I'm going to go ahead and export all of the compatibility sets. So with CSV, there's rules for exporting and importing CSVs. When you do compatibility sets, these are the fields that are available: the set ID, the name, category ID, category name, compatibilities. And it is different for, vehicle parts, motorcycle parts. So we're just going to add all here. And you'll see in the file when it opens, the compatibility name, like the motor, engine, those are going to be separated out. Get that here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, so we got a couple questions from Patrick in the chat here. One of them was, where are you retrieving the EPIDs from? So the EPIDs are essentially eBay's product IDs. There's a link, I believe, for motors compatibilities for car and truck parts that I want to say it's a full list of EPIDs, I believe. So yeah, essentially what I think he's asking, his other question was, can you tell which ones have compatibilities? I don't think so. I don't know if you have more to add to this, Dustin, but
well, when you're doing the catalog search like that, no, there's not a way to see what ones have compatibilities or what compatibilities are on there. I think you kind of have to try one and see what pulls over.
okay.
If you have the eBay product ID, you're almost always going to get the compatibilities downloaded.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually the ones that have the part picture. That's if you're searching by a part and a name, the ones that have the part pictures are the ones that are really going to pull the compatibilities.
Okay. Makes sense.
So this is the file that we have here. So you can see the different, so we've got compatibility set ID, name, category ID, category name. That's going to be separated out by colons. If there's notes that were in there, so you can add the notes to the compatibilities, saying whether or not it's a front or if it's rear EPID. But here is where it's going to. So if you're creating a file, these are going to be export with a CN in front of it. So that's the compatibility name. So if you're formatting a file and you're wanting to do make, model, that has to be prefaced with the compatibility name, CN underscore. So if I wanted to go and then import this file, if I just had it as make, I would have to manually pull that over. So when I go in and import a compatibility set and I grab that file, normally you would drag, if it didn't have the CN, the category name in front of it, I would have to take this and I would have to drag that to the compatibility name. So if you're creating a file and you want to format it the easiest way where you have to do the least amount of work, it's probably best to put that CN in front of it so you don't have to worry about dragging it. But you can see I've also got some, looks like motorcycle parts maybe on here with the submodel. And I'll go ahead and we're going to add some. Go ahead and import that. So now when I go in and look at my compatibilities, you can see all the ones that don't have anything assigned to them are the ones that we just imported from that file. So we can do another one. I have a couple more files we can test with. Import from file, compatibility sets. And let's open this one. And here you can see, again, make's already over there. I can add it and click OK. And then when I go back in here, that one is down at the bottom. So that one was Cobra. So let me show you here what it would look like if they weren't pre-labeled. Opening up another CSV file here. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so if this one didn't have it named, and you just had the make and model there, so then you'd have to drag the make over and you'd have to drag the model over. So this one's going to tell us that there's already a compatibility set with that name. But that's the basis of importing and exporting a CSV file with your compatibility sets. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, so I just answered one about the limit. I believe I'm correct.
I think that's right. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's right. I don't think 6-bit has a limit on the number of compat sets you can have. I think the content in them, I think that's limited to 3,000 rows.
Okay. That makes sense.
This window has a limit to how many are visible. I think it's about 30. At that point, then this window becomes scrollable.
Yeah.
And you can use the filter too.
And that's where you could move things up and down. So I could move this one up here. You can organize them alphabetically, edit, rename. You can duplicate them. So if you knew you had Jeep Cherokees plus a Nissan, you could duplicate Jeep Cherokee and add in Nissan for a new compatibility set.
Or change years or stuff like that.
Exactly. So, but after about 30 visible on this window, the window won't get bigger anymore and you just have to scroll through them at that point. But you could have hundreds.
And if you've got a lot, you can use that filter. So if you want to type in Nissan in the filter there, Christy.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. Really valuable
Help
with people that have a lot of
with lots of
compatibilities.
sets find their stuff quickly.
Yep.
Mike Carew was asking where the compatibility information is pulled from. We just get that information from eBay. I don't think we know where eBay gets their information from.
No. I mean, we know it's basically eBay and their motors teams that keep track of all of it. No idea if they get it from Hollander or any other parts company, I guess. But that's definitely a good question. All right. Don't see any more questions coming through. What we can do is I'll put this up on the screen and
Mike Miskey asked, can you share what is happening with eBay, Hollander, and 6-bit meshing together? Do you have any insight on that one, Steve?
I do. I mean, we're still, it's really at the beginning stages, but we've started working with eBay, talking about a number of different, projects for compatibilities and fitments in the program. Can't really share too much right now, just because it's still really early, but yeah, hopefully just look out for an announcement in the future about updates or anything going forward. I don't want to share too much and get in trouble here, but yeah.
I believe if you can get a file exported from Hollander, if you can massage that file into a format that 6-bit will accept, you should be able to import those through CSV into 6-bit. I understand that's extra steps in time that probably don't want to take, but it's possible. We just don't have that in-program integration with Hollander as of yet.
The only fields you should really need, if you're creating a file just off the, like Hollander, would be the name, your category that it'll be in, which is just broken up by colons, and then your make, model, year, trim, engine. But if you preface those with that CN underscore, 6-bit will do all the work of putting it where it's supposed to go. So you could probably take a file from them and easily adjust it to format into import into 6-bit.
Yeah, that's what Mike just mentioned, doing a mass import. That's why he said he was asking on if there was a cap on the sets, but you should be good.
Yeah, if you want to try to break it, we'll take a look at it.
Yeah. All right. I don't think I think we pretty much covered everything we wanted to get to today. We are live recording this, so once this is done, we'll get that posted up for you guys so you can rewatch it, or if someone didn't get it, they can get to it live or whatever. They can watch the recording, and then I'll also post this PowerPoint so you guys can have the links and all of that. But let's see if there's any more questions in the Q&A. Yeah, so I'll just keep this open for another minute, and then if there's any more questions, we can get to those. But yeah, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate you guys being here, and